All right, I'm going to complete the cardinal sin of YouTube video editing. And that is to start this video off by saying, there's nothing interesting to talk about as it relates to this latest episode of Sister Wives. So I'm sitting here being like, I need to do a review, and I feel like I'm reviewing the same freaking episode over and over and over again. In this episode, we found out that Kody's an asshole. In this episode, we found out that Meri is struggling to leave. She's moving her life to Parowan, but she's still going back and forth, and Kody would like her to leave. In this episode, we found out that Janelle is not interested in Kody anymore, but still isn't able to make the commitment to fully leave. And I feel like we have known this for the last 5 episodes, and I am getting more and more sort of frustrated with TLC's approach to this. I mean, I understand we got to have views, we got to have episodes, but it just feels like nothing substantive is really happening. The only part of this last episode that I thought was notable, I guess there's 2 things that were notable. One is it's just becoming more and more clear to me how sick Kody is as it relates to the relationship with his kids. So in this episode, you hear Christine say, Garrison's hurting, Gabe is hurting, and Garrison said that he wanted to have Kody over to his house to sort of, break bread and resolve the relationship. Then there's Kody in his interview saying, I have a house, my house is with Robyn, and I am not going to reach out to my kids to go visit them. I'm not going to extend an olive branch to them, they come to me. And it's a shocking decision on his part to value his sort of position of status, to value his power over resolving a relationship with his children. It is abundantly clear to me that Kody is far more invested in his ego than he is the well-being of his children. And my gut reaction is to say, I think there are too many kids in his life. There's not enough of him to give to all of those relationships, and as a consequence, he's just focusing on the ones that make it easy for him. And I'm reluctant to say that because I think that there are families that are big, and the father is able to be committed and invested in all of the children. But as it relates to Kody and his kind of limited capacity to share love, he can't, he's not willing to do it with all of these kids, and I think it's going to have a lasting, devastating effect on how his kids see themselves. Fortunately, they have loving mothers that support them, but in this phase, right, at this early adulthood, Garrison just bought his first house, and his father won't come and visit it because he's too prideful. That tells you really quickly where you stand, and I feel for Garrison because I'm worried it's going to start to shape his personal identity. So that's the first thing. I think that was I know that Kody's an asshole, but you still have in the back of your mind, he's a father, he loves his kids, eventually they're going to resolve this fracture in the family. And it's just like episode after episode, Kody affirms he has the same level of vitriol towards them that they do him. He affirms that he's not that interested in dealing with them in the first place. He's not even emotionally concerned with it. He affirms that them coming to his house is more important than him going to their house to resolve the relationship. He is just affirming it over and over and over again. So that's the first thing. The second thing I think that was interesting in this episode is the way that Kody talked about his wives. I think this might be the first time when he's been really clear about being in love with Robyn and not being in love with the other wives. Like historically, he's kind of said, look, these wives don't respect me, or we don't have a spark right now, or Robyn is dutiful, and because she's dutiful and because she honors me, I treat her well, right? Things like that, or Robyn's kids honor me, so as a consequence, I put more effort there. This episode, he said straight up, she's the love of my life, and I have all these other situations. And it's like a very clear sort of distinction of, I am really not interested in these other women. He even says that he can't figure out why Meri won't leave him, which is it's a weird, just from an outsider's perspective, it's a really weird thing where It's like his pride about being the head of the household and his pride about not getting divorced is leading him to essentially mislead the women in his life. He's not telling Meri that he wants to separate from her. He'll tell TLC in an interview that will eventually be shown to Meri. He's comfortable doing that, but he's not able to go to Meri and say, this isn't working, leave. He would rather let Meri just flounder so that he can tell himself or tell the public or tell God or whatever he's doing that he has this reasonably intact family. And the same thing with Janelle. He can't figure out why Janelle won't put up with being mistreated while he has a healthy relationship with Robyn. He's like looking around exasperated by, well, wait a second. I've always mistreated these women. Why are they now having an issue with it? And to this point, Janelle's kind of allowing it. She's saying, I'm okay. And there's no sort of major push on her part to get out of it, which is, as a viewer, is hard to watch. And I think it's really interesting to watch Christine, who has escaped Kody's grasp, looking back at it, and Christine saying, what are you doing? Be more than okay. You could have a life that is exceptional. You don't have to have this mediocre life with this man. And then you have Janelle saying, stop pushing me, I'm fine. I understand that Janelle's perspective is reasonable from the standpoint of she's been in a very long-term relationship with him. Leaving Kody is a huge decision. But objectively, it's a miserable relationship. And so it's like, I'm just desperate for her to actually do something. So I don't have a lot to say. That's what happened in the episode. It was a lackluster one. I think TLC's running out of things to show to make this interesting. Hopefully they kick it in gear the last couple episodes. Let me know what you think in the comments below.